So, there's the post office side of things, right? So, the MX record tells the internet where's your web server? Like, I'm sorry, where's your email server? So again, back in the day when I first started in the biz, most customers that I dealt with had a on-site or an on-prem, we call it, email server, and so they had an actual physical server on their network connected, and we had to allow the outside world to talk to the internal server, and that's where the domain, the email for that domain was being hosted. And so the MX record in your DNS settings would point back to that server, your server, physical server, and sitting in your office space. And so that's how it all started. And then all of a sudden, Microsoft said, you know what, we'll just host the email servers for you. And the cloud technology began and all that. And so Microsoft started hosting, cloud-based email servers. And obviously today, we know it as Office 365 or Microsoft 365, as it's called now. Or sometimes they call it Exchange Online. And so that was kind of the progression of it. We moved from most people having an in-house email server. If you didn't have an in-house email server, you would normally have to either just sign up for some kind of Yahoo type service, or you would use something like you had, David, Rackspace, and at best you'd have POP or the IMAP, email, which was very cumbersome to set up, didn't always work properly. It was different no matter what device. It was very confusing and frustrating, So Microsoft said, "Hey, we're gonna resolve all of this, and we're just gonna put all the legitimate, email servers online for you guys if you want it." And most customers, even large, major corporations now, they use the online-based cloud services for their email. And so, but yeah, and like you said, as of late, hey, MX record is not enough because again, there's just too much, riffraff going on and too many people, abusing email and hijacking addresses and all that. It's like if SendGrid and MailChimp can send email on behalf of your domain, then so can all these other,
Yeah.
these other, just ruckus places. And so they were taking advantage of that. So the SPF record, was born, and that helps with, making sure, hey, nobody but the people that are programmed in this record can send email on your behalf.
Wow, I have so many thoughts in my mind just from those comments. Yeah, I remember the old days when we had POP and IMAP, and setting up Outlook was just, to me, was just such a pain. And it was a little bit difficult, but it was just annoying, and it was just so annoying. But then when we got the online service, after we got the online service, setting up email for a customer or for ourselves was so easy, because on like on your phone, all you needed was the username and password, and bing, you were in. You were getting email on your phone, and that was super easy. But again, things have progressed so far, and more security has been implemented. So now, in order to do that, we have to go through like a double process and authenticate each step. When you're setting up your device, you need to have an authenticator on your phone, and to be able to get that code to authenticate who you are first before you can get that username and password put into your email. So there's steps there that are involved. And I want to jump back for a second. When you were setting up these DNS records, so when we're setting up the name servers, there's a time period there. And when we put these, I think particularly for the name servers, there's a 24-hour, 48-hour period. That's what it used to take. Even for domain names, I don't know if we talked about it in the previous video, but it used to take 2 weeks to transfer a domain name. It used to take a week or 48 hours to update the DNS records. So there's a couple things. There's also a TTL, which means the time to live. So now that it can happen in 5 minutes, which is kind of crazy, the things that we use. But it's still based on it, like the post office analogy.